Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Genestal Stadium at BT Connor Reserve for round 3 action of the 2025 men's NPL Victoria season. It's the long-awaited Macedonian derby between the Preston Lions and Altona Magic. And this will be the first time that both clubs have faced each other for competition points since 2017 and the first time in Victoria's top flight since 2009. So plenty of bragging rights at stake tonight. I'm sure we can expect a friendly but fiercely fought contest here this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, in celebration of tonight's Macedonian derby and to kick off proceedings, we'd now like to welcome the vibrant and talented MKUD Jan Sandensky dancing group onto the ground. In the 40 plus years since its establishment, the Jan Sandensky dancing group have performed all around the world, dedicated to creating a safe space for Melbourne's Macedonian youth, encouraging them to embrace their cultural heritage through folk, song and dance. So ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause everyone as we welcome Jan Sandensky Senior B to the dance floor, where they will be performing Prosalian.
Check, check. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Up or down? Up or down? A little bit up. How's that? 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Nick?
Right, testing, testing. 1, 2, 1, 2. Testing, testing. Louder, louder, louder. Louder, louder, louder. Any louder? All right, we'll go louder than that.
Oh, you're a bit hot. Yeah, okay.
Right. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 1, 2. Testing, testing.
Go again.
Testing, testing. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Happy?
2.
That's better.
All right.
Absolutely fantastic. A big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, from the NPLMVIC, Janet Soldansky, dancing group. And continuing on with the Macedonian celebration this evening, we have a very special treat for you now. And we would like for the entire crowd to join in the sing-along. Would you please welcome onto the ground the very talented local Macedonian band, Leverville Band Melbourne, who will be performing the Macedonian classic, Bise Balkanski.
just that leg. I don't know how it works. Where it like leans forward. And then balance it. But you also might get the raise. But well, that's what like mine is. It's not mine, it's the companies I work for. But every 200.
Okay, Preston fans, will you make the whole world as a welcome both teams out on the ground? Would you give them a massive roar for attack for the Preston Lions and Altona Magic?
It's a beautiful night in Reservoir at Jenna Steele Stadium for the first Macedonian derby between Preston Lions and Altona Magic since 2017. A marvellous occasion. We've just had the pre-game entertainment, the Macedonian dances. It's a very proud night for both clubs as they square off on the same points. 4 points from their opening 2 games. Altona drawing 1-1 with Melbourne Victory in round 1 before a surprise 2-1 win over St Albans Dynamo. Preston winning on the opening night here against Hume City before finishing all square against Dandenong City last week. So nothing between them so far. We'll take you through the starting lineups. And for Preston, there is just one change. It is Michael Boffey coming in at left back. Adrian Valenti out of the squad. Juan Scott, after a man-of-the-match performance last week, retains his place between the sticks. Stefan Negro, Aaron Anderson and Matthew Bozanovsky in the back line. Oli Kubale, Emil Payos, Jonas Markovsky, Jason Romero, Leighton Brooks and Giorgio Serdenis round out the starting lineup. No Jacob Ognanovsky or Noah Spaseski on the bench. In come in Dom Felino and Gian Albano alongside Luke Jago, Jake Tchaikovsky, Marcus Schroen and Brandon Lawton. For Altona Magic, they are completely unchanged. And if you're Goran Lozanovsky, why change a winning team? The captain, Christian Rossi, between the sticks. A back four of Hiro Kawaguchi, Teofik Olamawewe, Johnny Stoichevsky, Alex Gust, Saad Mukuchar, Philip Jachevsky and Christos Theodorakopoulos in midfield. A front line of Connor O'Keefe, Anthony Frangi and Bilal Habib. Ilya Shalamanov-Trenkov is the backup goalkeeper with Dejan Bakadanikowski, Mohamed El Wali, Daniel Fabrizio, George Sitsinaris and Salu Kamara on the bench. Ready to get underway here with our referee, Lachlan Keevers, to blow the opening whistle. My name is Josh Parrish. I'm alongside Nick Tabano. Nick, that pre-game entertainment, you amped up for this one?
Absolutely. It's a big game feel here at BT Connor Reserve. It always is it not? It's a big one today, the first Macedonian derby in the top flight in quite some time, Josh. I mean, really looking forward to this one. Altona have really been, don't want to say a surprise package straight out of the blocks, but some very impressive results. That 1-1 draw against Melbourne Victory and then backing that up with quite a solid win at home against St Albans last week. You know, leading 2-0 in that game. They had to work for it as St Albans came late and put pressure on them, but 4 points out of a possible 6 for Goran Lozanovsky's side. Certainly a step in the right direction for them. But Preston, Josh, I mean, they had to go deep last week against Dandy City. It was looking a bit ominous in those final moments before Giorgio Serdenis saved that point at Frank Holohan Reserve. But as we know with Preston, they always leave it late. It's always a bit of drama, and looking forward to this one tonight.
Yes, Giorgio Serdenis, the hero last week in the 92nd minute. Preston fans will be hoping it's not quite as close cut this evening. Preston perhaps fortunate to escape with a point last week, but on their home deck, they've got a point to prove here. Looking back at the head-to-head record, and it is locked up, even Stevens between Preston and Altona Magic. 14 wins, 14 draws and 14 losses for Preston in this fixture. So tonight, will the balance finally be broken? Leighton Brooks on the ball here, who's scored the opening goal in both of Preston's matches so far this season, but he's given it away a little cheaply, and Aaron Anderson robs it off the toes of Anthony Frangi.
Still very balmy out here, Josh. I mean, usually when we're up here in the BT Connor Reserve Tower or throughout the year, it's usually quite freezing. It's quite the opposite, but right now it's still sitting at around 30 degrees, and we're feeling it, and I'm sure the players will as well today. It's a typical February evening, and I'll tell you what, it's a great turnout here for this one as well. It took a bit of a drive, having to get yourself a car park today and walk all the way up to make sure you get here and get a good spot, but it's a beautiful evening, great night for football. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this one plays out.
Well, make no mistake, that was the game's first shot from Jonas Markowski, the former Altona Magic man who won the Golden Boot here in 2023. Just spotted Christian Rossi off his line. Maybe something he picked up at training a couple of years ago. He's kept in the back of mind, but maybe the cat is out of the bag now. Oliver Wewe, the English centre half, down the right. O'Keefe has wriggled free of Boffey, but can't beat Aaron Anderson with the cross. Michael Boffey, a centre back by trade, but has impressed in pre-season during the Masso Cup up in Sydney, playing in a new role at left back, and Preston don't really have a natural backup in that position in their squad, so in comes Boffey. Couple of step-overs, and the cross comes in, and it's just flicked onto the roof of the net by Frangi, who did well to outleap Matt Bozanovsky there.
Not many players can beat Bozanovsky in the air. We know how tall he is. He's a very imposing figure in the heart of that defence, and Frangi did well. You know, he loses the height advantage when they're standing next to each other. He did well to contort his body and get his head on it, coming off the back of scoring his first goal of the season last week, Josh. I mean, we've seen what he's been able to do. He's capable of the spectacular. I mean, all eyes, all memories go back to what he was able to do in 2023 in New South Wales, scoring that incredible, what would you call it, scissor kick, bicycle kick? It was just a stunning bit of invention for Mount Druitt Town Rangers at the time. So,
well, he actually did it twice for Mount Druitt,
yeah,
which is absolutely outrageous. So he's very much capable of the spectacular, even if we haven't really seen it in his time in Victoria. Has got off the mark for Altona, though, last week, as Romero is fouled in midfield by Filip Jovchevsky. Oh, in fact, it was Theodorakopoulos, I should say. Little touch inside from Brooks. Oh, trying to play in Sir Dennis. It was just wrong-footed by the pass. That was an opening.
It's been so impressive in the first couple of weeks, hasn't he, Josh? Leighton Brooks, 2 goals already to his name, and what a fantastic goal it was last week against Dandy City. The invention just to hit that perfectly over Pierce Clark and lob it into the back of the net, of course, was the goal of the week last week as well in NPL Victoria as voted, and I'll tell you what, rightfully so, and he's having an immediate impact here in NPL Victoria.
And the offside flag is up, I believe. Or was that a handball against?
I think it was a handball, yep.
Mistake.
To be honest, from our view, Josh, it really could have been either, but he did control that ball with his forearm.
He's just trying to pass the hand gesture of match official Lockie Keevers, where it was the coming back from an offside position raised arm or the handball raised arm. by rights, he should be handy with the hand gestures because he is an air traffic controller by trade, Lockie Keevers. I suspect he's in the tower rather than on the runway.
Yeah, I think he's the one hand with the orange sort of,
with the table tennis bats.
Calling the planes in.
And a free kick given away by Kugelay. Dangerous for Preston. A bit of ponderous defending here, and Bilal Habib has gotten free down the left. He goes to ground, and Keevers points to the 6-yard box rather than the penalty spot.
Yeah, just a couple sort of lapses of concentration inside the Preston penalty area in their defence. There's been a couple of those which have just opened the door just slightly for Altona, and yeah, just a poor touch there from Stefan Nigro, who you'd back more times than not to, certainly make the right decision in those areas, but just was caught a little bit flat-footed and opened up the door a little bit there for Altona. And, I mean, when you see the form that his direct opponent, Bilal Habib, is in coming into this contest, he's certainly going to have his hands full. Of course, 2 goals already this season since making the return back to NPL Victoria. And, God, isn't he a player to watch?
He has been maybe the comeback player of the year so far, Bilal Habib. When you think about last season, the last few games after the mid-season window, he was helping West Vale Olympic get promoted from State League 2 to State League 1. And now he's tearing it up in the top flight.
He's such a talent. I mean, we saw the season removed now, but his form at Heidelberg in 2023 and then even in 2022 for Pascoe Vale in VPL 1. He's a very, very talented player. Certainly one that I think is going to have a major impact for the remainder of this campaign.
His goal last week was spectacular. This is Anderson trying to pick out his former Melbourne Victory teammate in Brooks. Ball will trickle through to Rossi. Now here's Johnny Stojcevski playing at centre-back this season as opposed to left-back where we're more accustomed to seeing him. Maybe as he moves into a different phase of his career, he can make that position his own.
I think it's an interesting one as well, Josh, because the form of Alexander Gust, who has come in now his second season at Altona, was one of their real standouts last year and made that left-back position his own. But the door opened up for him to slot in at centre-back with Aaron O'Driscoll heading up to New South Wales. So he's taken it with both hands, and him and Olomawewe in defence have certainly forged quite the partnership in the early going of this season.
He's one of only 20 players in Altona Magic's history to have made 100-plus appearances in the Victorian top flight. And he actually has over 200 games for Altona. Hit that mark last season, although some of those came during Altona's rise up the divisions. Their most recent rise, I should say. .120 NPL Victoria appearances tonight for Johnny Stojcevski. Just 3 goals, so collector's items, I'd say. Olomawewe. Altona with a bit of sustained possession here. Kawaguchi gets free to cross down the right. Theodorakopoulos. Mukacha trying to keep it alive. Mukacha's cross. And we'll have the game's first corner despite Michael Boffey's best efforts.
Good little sustained bit of attacking here from Altona. Christos Theodorakopoulos picking up those positions on the edge of the box, Josh. He's so dangerous in those areas and we know he can hit the scoreboard. He's already heading over to take that corner. Certainly a real danger player for the Magic.
Altona swing in the corner. It's flicked on by Stojcevski and then volleyed goalwards. Well wide of the mark, but there was some venom on that. Kawaguchi, I think it was.
Not a bad volley at all there from Kawaguchi. Made really good contact on that one. It was always going to take something quite spectacular to get that one on target, but it was hit well. Just wasn't able to get his body over it. Certainly would have been if he was able to pull that one off, one of the early contenders for goal of the season.
Can't buy a throw.
Big task for Kawaguchi tonight, Josh, going up against Leighton Brooks.
Well, he's the man in form. Bozanovsky. Now, Payos finding Kubalay. Delicate dink into the channel. Brooks gets a second bite at this one. Clipped in towards Markovsky. Headed only as far as Romero, who goes for the dink. Oh, it was delicate. Maybe too delicate.
Did well there to get the ball from out from underneath him there, Jason Romero. I mean, it's so hard in those positions when you've got a defender right in your space there to really get the ball from out and get that swing on it. But he did well just to sort of dink it. It was always going to be tough to beat Christian Rossi from that position, but he did really well. And that's what we're going to see a lot of Jason Romero. Sorry, not Christian Romero, of course, of Hotspur. Jason Romero is a player that will get himself in those areas in around the 18-yard box. It's a player who can not only create for the attackers in around him, but can certainly find the scoreboard, as we saw against Hume City back in round one. So certainly looking forward to seeing what he can do tonight and throughout the remainder of this season in that role.
It was exciting when he went for the chipped finish from the edge of the box. Maybe putting his foot through it in hindsight would have been the more sensible option. A risky pass from Anderson, and it's picked off. Theodorakopoulos, ball spills out. And cross to the back post. Negro can't clear it. Habib. Cut back towards Mukasha. And then Negro steals the ball off his toes and wins the free kick.
Yet again, Josh, just another lapse in concentration playing out from the back there from Preston. It was Aaron Anderson that time who just turned the ball over. A really dangerous position. Just got to be a little bit aware, because Altona have got players that can make you pay, and especially when you're playing out from the back and that pass is on, it's got to be on early, you know. And I think that you back Aaron Anderson 9 times out of 10 to make that sort of pass. But I don't know, Josh, just early days, just in their moments as they build, there's been just some things they've got to work on in the early going.
It's probably the sort of pass Preston want Aaron Anderson to make. He just has to exercise a bit of...
And you would be telling him to keep doing it. You wouldn't be telling him to go into his shell and play it sideways and play it backwards and keep trying to be proactive, especially when you've got those players in front of you.
They want to find Payos in between the lines of Altona's attack and midfield if they can. Kubalay getting free and tireless off the ball work in order to do so. And then Markovsky will win a throw deep in opposition territory, well defended by Alex Gust.
Another huge test for him today as well, going against the 2023 gold medalist. Playing against his former team for the first time.
Well, Golden Boot winner. I believe it was Jack Marshall who got the gold medal that year.
No, that is true.
Sorry, apologies for that one. I'm sure Jonas won't mind. O'Keefe. Oh, Anderson doesn't get it clear. Frangie with the snapshot into the side netting.
They're rapid breaking forward, aren't they, Altona, when they're able to get out and transition and get sort of those players isolated in those areas. And Anthony Frangie in a load of space there, and just another nervous moment for that Preston defence. Got to be careful.
Bozanovsky. Gust with a free header. Preston making trouble for themselves here as Frangie goes for glory and doesn't get hold of it at all. That was a big chance. Maybe he could have taken a touch. He had more time than he knew. And the shot count is racking up in Altona's favour right now.
It's a really impressive start from Altona. His first 15 minutes have been super impressive, not daunted by the occasion whatsoever, coming here and looking to put this defence under pressure. And again, there another turnover.
Payos. Romero jinks around. Now Markovsky fighting for it. Clean challenge from Gus. Well, he's winning that battle so far. And after he was the first player withdrawn against Dandenong City, Jonas Markovski has a bit of a point to prove this week.
He's still waiting to open up his account here for Preston Lions, Josh, and there is obviously enormous pressure that comes with being a Golden Boots winner. So he is in possession.
Markovski just overcooked it with the right boot. Brooks will retreat and recycle.
It's a big little period coming up for Markovski, Josh. I mean, you know, we mentioned at the start, Gian Albano on the bench, a chance to make his debut today for Preston. Connor Bell, you know, will be back sooner rather than later. You know, it's the competition for places in that front four is only going to heat up in the weeks ahead. And, of course, Xander Guy later in the year as well.
He's unfortunately on the long-term injury list, but will play a part in the second half of the campaign.
Sevsky prowling that touchline over there, Josh. He's gone from one side to the other, barking instructions. If maybe there might be a little bit of a switch that's going on here.
So Dennis is going to go to the left and Brooks to the right-hand side, and they're going to put Jonas through the middle. Well, Giorgio Serdenis is a very versatile player, so we've seen him swap to the flanks when Preston have made substitutions in both rounds. Now doing it in open live play in the first half rather than as a result of a change. But good opportunity for Markovski to get closer to goal. Theodore Akopoulos holding his head. The game might need to be stopped here.
See now, chance with this stoppage, Josh, just for Preston to maybe take stock, and
I think it's probably a good break for Preston. Gives Lujatsevsky the chance to put a few words in Leighton Brooks' ear.
I think from an Altona perspective, Josh, if you're Goran Lozanovsky and the Altona coaching staff, you couldn't be happier with this start. I mean, the only thing that they're missing is that goal, but everything else in terms of their play from front to back, they've been mightily impressive.
They've been pretty comfortable so far. For most teams, it's a hostile place to come. For Altona, maybe less so. It's such a friendly rivalry. So that can change in an instant, as we know. Sir Dennis. Oh, lovely touch from Sir Dennis. And Markovski onto Romero. Kubalay shifts it wide to Brooks. Brooks will go at gust. Brooks to the byline. Can't find a teammate at Stoichevsky. Chips it into the path of Bilal Habib. Great battle between Payos and Habib, and it's going to be a Preston free kick. Payos just got front position for a moment there and was hauled down.
What have you made of Payos' move to playing a little bit more of a deep-lying role for Preston? I mean, we've seen it, you know, Victory City, South Melbourne, he's played further up. He's usually playing in that role that Jason Romero occupies. Playing a bit deeper. I mean, what have you made of the switch for Emil Payos?
I think it suits his game in order to get him on the ball more, and you can't really think of a better partner for a kind of diminutive, deep-lying playmaker than Ollie Kubalay, who does so much defensive work and so much work off the ball. It is interesting that they've decided to play Payos as the pivot. That suggests to me that they really want him to start the attacks. And it's a challenge for Payos and for the back line to just get him in possession with time to set himself and scan further afield as often as possible. Altona have looked to shut that down so far. It was very good in round one against Hume. Maybe less influential last time out, but that's a lovely drag back from Payos. Now Romero has two for company. Went for the nutmeg on Gust, I think. He's not afraid to try things out there.
Rate the confidence.
Jason Romero. Kubalay. It's a second bite at it. Early ball looking for Markovski. It's a magnificent ball, and Rossi does really well to field it.
Just look at Jonas Markovski here. He's calling for the bench already. Looks like he's done something to his hamstring.
Yeah, left hamstring. That's not what Preston wanted to see.
Varkas there off the ball there between Brooks and Gust as well.
Markovski's gone to ground now. And Preston are going to be forced into an early change. Well, now it's an interesting one. Do you risk Gian Albano for 70 minutes, or is he not ready to play that long? I'm sure Preston anticipated injecting him in the second half. He's the obvious replacement, though.
70 minutes on a really hot night as well. It's a risk, but with a player of the calibre of Gian Albano, you'd have to consider it. You really would have to consider it. But you've also got someone like Luke Jego and Marcus Rowan who you can throw in there. You can move the magnets around a little bit. But, God, that's such an unfortunate blow for Jonas Markovski. You saw straight away when he went up for that header against Christian Rossi, and after he fell, the hand went straight to the back of the hamstring there. And
it's an awkward one. It's not even a sprint. It's just an awkward landing.
Yeah. I wonder if maybe he did something as he jumped or something. Who knows? But it's a disappointing one. And they know straight away. They know when the hammy goes, you feel it, and it's not nice. And
trying to see if there's any action on the Preston bench. The players have relished the opportunity to go to the benches and take an unofficial drinks break. It is very hot out there.
Oh, yeah.
For the spectators, a lovely evening. T-shirt and shorts, you're laughing. For the players, less so. I don't know what the wet bulb temperature is, but it's certainly warm as far as night NPL games are concerned.
One of the rare ones that we're going to have for the whole year, because we'll say this in a few months and it's going to be Arctic. It's still 28 degrees in Reservoir at the moment. It's crazy. We've got 4 games running tonight. They're all going to be feeling it, even as well in all the other competitions too. Plenty of football tonight.
Well, Preston haven't made the change yet. Down to 10 for the time being. Probably the substitute wasn't ready.
Well, no, because I don't think that they'd even gone through their warm-ups. No. There was just no anticipation of that whatsoever. So,
well, at least you're nice and warm already.
Yeah. Preston injury curse, Josh. Just feels like there's always, whenever you get one back, another one goes down. It's such unfortunate luck.
On the way. Mukasha.
Josh, it looks like it is going to be Gian Albano coming on.
Very interesting. He had an issue with his groin just on the eve of the season. It was the match day -1 training session for Hume City where he had to end the session early. And that's just a hammer blow to any player. He was absolutely flying.
You do
in terms of confidence pre-season.
Yeah, but you also do wonder, like, the interesting thing is, like, even if he can't get through the full 70, if he can put in a good shift and he feels it towards the last 10 minutes, they keep that substitution window open and they feel that they need to bring on some fresh legs, and that opportunity is still there. It's not as if he's locked into being there in the side for the entire night, but...
Well, here go the 10 men of Preston. They've opened up the pitch. Boffey. 2 to aim for in the box here for Boffey. Brooks thought about the spectacular. Lets it run for Romero. Still Romero. Showed too much of the ball to Gus. And just got a piece of the ankle there.
He thought about it, Leighton Brooks. Don't mind the thought to try and go for the bicycle, but...
Gian Albano still not quite ready. He's got the bib off. You don't want to bring him on cold. Preston are just going to have to survive for a few minutes. Down a man. Kubalay. This one of a number of games taking place around the state tonight. I think I'll get you to keep me abreast of the live scores, if you will.
A stoppage in play.
Brooks. Hopeful ball, and Stoichevsky will field it. Rossi Bit of an unsure clearance. Trying to chip it into the channel rather than send it downfield. Preston maybe played better with 10 than they did with 11.
More poise on the ball now, looking a bit more comfortable at the moment.
Maybe the drinks break made all the difference for them. Came out a little dry. Albano ready to come on at the next stoppage for the injured Jonas Markowski.
So Josh, as you alluded to, 3 other games in the top flight tonight. 1-1 between Green Gully and Hume City. Avondale up 2-0 against Avondale in the second half. Oh, sorry, Avondale up 2-0 against Melbourne Knights in the second half there. Oakley
they almost could field 2-11s with the quality of their squad.
Yeah, and Oakley 2-0 up against Port Melbourne Sharks, just closing in on half-time. So plenty of action happening right across the board, and of course VPL 1 and VPL 2 action as well. So it's all happening here on Friday night. It's great to have NPL Victoria football back, isn't it?
It's great to have Preston in the mix once again. Romero threads it through for Brooks. Gust at full stretch, took a piece of the ball, and it was superb defending, really. He's been really good so far. Been tested and has answered the call.
You mentioned Preston back in the top flight, Josh. It's been 16 years since we've seen this matchup in the top flight. Since 2009 was the last meeting we've seen, in the Victorian top flight, that is.
I can't imagine those meetings went particularly well for Preston in that season.
Yeah, Altona won 4-2 on that day, and the last Preston win in the top flight against Altona was back in round 18, 2007.
Having said that, Preston did win the last time these two teams faced each other.
3-2 win.
Yeah, double from Chris Davies, and none other than Hakeem Al-Arabi scoring the winner that day. John McShane on the score sheet for Altona, as well as Adamson Ajayi.
As you mentioned at the top, Josh, it's perfectly balanced between the two teams in the head-to-head.
That would have been in State League 1, I believe.
Yep.
And that was the season Altona were already going up and almost crowned champions. Maybe they were already partying.
They won the reverse fixture at Paisley Park that year, 2-1.
And that was one of Louis Atsevsky's first games in charge. He came in partway through the 2017 season. Well, the rest, as they say, is history. John Albano's gone out to the left flank with Sir Dennis back in the middle. Brooks.
Tell you what, Josh, since the last time sort of just doing a quick pan around the ground, it does look like that this crowd has only grown in the last few minutes. It feels like people are still petering in, and we've played, about half an hour in this game. It's quite incredible. It's a beautiful night for football, and where else would you rather be?
If you are planning on coming to a Preston game, my advice,
come straight from work.
Get an Uber. The parking,
and that too.
It is absolutely chock-a-block, and you can tell the appetite. Stay with play here as Boffey takes a loose touch. He's thinking about his cross before he controlled the ball.
What have you made of Michael Boffey since coming across? Obviously, first appearance for Preston this year, but came in the mid-season window from Northcote last season. Made of his move across town.
Well, it's an interesting one because it was essentially a defender swap deal.
Yeah.
With Dean Larson going the other way to Northcote. And Boffey was pretty important in a couple of very, very high-pressure fixtures. Just Negro in a tussle with Frangie. There's the veteran presence of Stefan Negro. Hack your opponent down, help him up. Gust. Early ball from Gust. Away by Anderson. Kubalay. Now Romero and Preston have an opportunity to break. It's 5 on 6 here. And so Dennis can't make it stick. Yovchevsky. Robbed of possession, and now Preston will have a crack from way downtown. But Giorgio Serdenis hits it into the creek.
Did well there to win the ball back, but never really got his body over that one, Giorgio Serdenis. And takes something quite spectacular if he was able to pull that one off.
He has scored spectacular goals in friendlies and in training sessions. Hasn't quite translated into senior football just yet.
Bit of innovation to get that equaliser last week. It wasn't the...
It was a poacher's finish.
It was a poacher's finish, but he had to show a little bit of invention to contort his body in the right way to knock that one over the goal line.
It wasn't quite acrobatics, but it was certainly mid-air dexterity.
Yeah.
It's already jumping to contest the header. Beats him for height. Schroen heads goalwards, and then Serdenis still mid-air. Has to react for the rebound. Brooks heads it on to Romero. Oh, they tried the little give and go. The idea was right. The execution was a hair's breadth away. Can Altona punish Preston for that attack breaking down? It's O'Keefe. The Scotsman goes to the byline. O'Keefe can't keep his cross in play. Well, he's got plenty of experience at just 26 years of age, over 200 appearances in Scottish professional football for Connor O'Keefe. Various levels. Started off at Celtic and St Mirren.
There's been a few players that have made their way down from Scotland over the last few years. A bit of pedigree playing in those tiers. John McGlynn, who's off for Green Gully as well, who also came down from Scotland too.
Kawaguchi. Good footwork from the Japanese fullback. And O'Keefe gets free. Lofts it forward for... Oh, Habib off the post! Wow, Preston were asleep at the wheel there. Very pedestrian defending, and Bilal Habib almost punished them. Still Altona here as Gus sends it into the box. And there's a whistle. Romero collected. Goodness me, that was close.
I don't really know Bilal Habib really knew much about it as well. It just sort of, just looking back on this chance, it fell to him perfectly inside the box. He got, and he had beaten Bon Scott as well, bounced up off the post. Oh, he did know quite a bit about that one, actually. Did quite well to get his head on it.
He's just got the height advantage on Negro at the back post there. Maybe without a player to defend in the area, Matt Bozanovsky could have dropped back to help out. Oh, that was a nervous moment as far as Preston are concerned, and a nearly moment for the Magic. Who've been very impressive so far. Let's not forget the chaos they were subjected to at the start of last season, with Scott Miller walking out the door just a couple of weeks before the season began. Rowan Lozanovsky coming back in and having to basically recruit an entire squad at short notice. They've had a full pre-season and they're reaping the rewards. Payos. Brooks crosses first time. Kept in by Albano. And just can't pick it off there. Romero was almost in.
Just on that, Josh, not only did Altona survive last year as well, they really had an impressive second half of the season, were able to solidify themselves in the mid-table and actually were kind of in the race for 6. They were a sneaky finals chance towards the end of the year, and they did a fantastic job. And of course, their top goal scorer last year, Bourgeois, has departed since, and he's gone off to Heidelberg United. But some of the players they've brought in this window to complement the core that they've been able to keep. You know, bringing in someone like Christos Theodorakopoulos, who knows where the goals are, Bilal Habib, Anthony Frangi. It's very good recruiting from the Magic to be able to get that calibre of players through the door.
Well, if you think about their 43 goals they scored last season, Nick, and you look at the names that those goals are attached to, only 10 remain. 21 of those between Buljuac and Darcy Anastovsky, who have both walked out the door. Jawad Rezai, of course, came across to Preston, in fact, before going back to New South Wales. And Stephen Lawless with 4. He's gone to the Knights. Staying with play here is Romero. Plays in Kubalay. Kubalay has his sights set on goal, and it was always fizzing wide.
Look there again from Preston, and Kubalay finding himself in a really good area there, Josh. And we know goals are a bit of a rarity for Ollie Kubalay, but doesn't mind getting forward and having a ping from time to time, and just wasn't able to get that one on target. So he scored 6 goals in his entire NPL Victoria career, Josh. So it just goes to show that how rare it is to see Ollie Kubalay get on the scoreboard.
He's got a couple of important goals there. I seem to remember winners for Oakley against South Melbourne on a couple of occasions. Oh, a physical challenge from Negro. It's going to be a throw only.
He's not afraid to get stuck in.
Well, Alex Gus went headfirst into the advertising hoardings.
Yeah.
They've got the padded adornments to the technical area, and I think that cushioning might have saved his face from being grazed on the artificial turf. Thank you to Cleaning Melbourne. Brooks. Well, just wrong foots Romero, who was, or Albano, I should say, who was ready to sprint the other way. Now Kawaguchi. It's just not clicking for Preston in the final third. Kawaguchi's floated ball to Frangi. They're trying to isolate the bigger bodies against Negro. Negro does really well that time. And Payos finds Brooks. Stoichevsky. Well, there was a flag up on the near side from the assistant. The referee said play on. Of course, the central official has final say. Preston retained possession. Kubalay for Payos.
That was a bit of an odd one.
Yeah, I would have thought the assistant had the better view. Lovely spin from Albano. He jinks his way through. What a run this is from Albano, and he wins a free kick in a superb position. Gian Albano with his first real contribution in Preston colours, and it's a valuable one.
That's what he can do, Josh. Head down, able to maze his way through plays and got himself in a great position and just chopped down on the edge of the box. Such a dangerous player, Gian Albano, and we saw at Melbourne Knights just how damaging he was when he was able to get a head full of steam and get running at defenders, and that's the first glimpse in Preston colours that we've seen of a player who has bagged close to 50 goals in the top flight of Victoria.
Big chance for Preston to get a strike on goal. It's Romero and Brooks standing over it. 2 players who've already netted for Preston this season. On a slight angle, but it seems to favour the right foot of both players. This bumper crowd expects as it's laid off for Brooks to strike! 3 in a row! Leighton Brooks is on fire! Every time Preston need a breakthrough, Leighton Brooks obliges.
What a hit. Laid off perfectly there by Romero. And just able to fizz that one along the deck. What a fantastic strike. Hit with such venom there from Leighton Brooks. And God, he's on fire at the moment, Josh. As you mentioned, 3 games, 3 goals for him. And he's having such a huge impact on the top flight of Victorian football, and also the top Preston since their return to this competition, and showing all that class that we saw in spades at Melbourne Victory. A player who knows where the goals are when he gets his opportunity, when he's playing with confidence. That's a fantastic finish. That is, you don't hit those any better.
Well, questions to be asked about the Altona wall, which broke as Romero laid it off. And Payos pulled down cynically. That's going to be a booking for Theodorakopoulos.
Tell you what, if you're Altona, Josh, being in this position right now where had such a positive first half, you've had up Preston on the back foot, just with that one moment of brilliance to really just get all that great work just gets undone in that one moment. Still plenty of time in this game to work themselves back into the contest, but yeah, real sucker punch there for the visitors, but God, that's big for Preston, especially just to get the confidence going. You know, they haven't really been able to get out of first gear just yet and been able to have that bit of fluidity and continuity going forward. So good start from them, or good little patch from them, and the reward to get that just before half-time is just as valuable.
Kawaguchi has to clear his lines and does so effectively. Jovchevsky. Oh, that's a bit of acrobatics from Boffey. Ball still ends up at the feet of Connor O'Keefe. Theodorakopoulos floats one high for Habib. Takes it down on the chest, but can't keep it away from Negro. Now Kubalay tried to start the quick break. Cut out by Gust. Habib will come again. Stepping inside Negro, finding the overlapping run. It's Gust who clips it in. Boffey, oh, dangerously across his own box. It's still not away. A moment of madness from Michael Boffey, but it might work out in Preston's favour. Sir Dennis. Well, cynically done from Jovchevsky. That's another yellow ticket, and this game is on fire.
Oh, breathe a sigh of relief if you're the Preston defence there. Very nervous moment at the back there from Michael Boffey. And it was just asking for someone in a white jersey to poke it home, but they repelled brilliantly there, Preston. They were off. It's good play from Sir Dennis to get forward and won the free kick. But Leighton Brooks was in an absolute acre as well on this near side, but just in that one moment there, look at that beautiful flick through to play through to Sir Dennis as well to really kickstart that attack. But
it's lovely from Romero.
Sorry, Romero, yeah.
And Sir Dennis, held down. Jovchevsky really had little other choice. Flip to Negro. Little reverse. Gust stretches and can't quite avert the danger for Altona. Brooks. Kubalay whipped it in first time. Kawaguchi stooped and headed across his own box. Jovchevsky well taken. Gust sent to the byline. Oh, the assistant referee has gone for a sixer. Smiles, handshakes and apologies from Alex Gust for the lino.
Hope it's all good.
That was a scything challenge. Well, a bit of slapstick comedy to add to this game as Bosnanovsky becomes the latest player to go into the book, and 2 minutes are added to end this first half.
And just the message now would be from Preston, just get into the sheds. This 1-0 advantage. Of course, Altona have really posed a threat when they've gotten forward. Don't want to put themselves under any needless pressure whatsoever.
Away. Frangie shielded well. They can't keep it away from ML Payos. Stamps it forward for Romero. Oh, and there's a problem off the ball here. We have a spot fire breaking out.
It's Aaron Anderson on the deck. Not sure who the Altona player is. I think it might be Anthony Frangie.
I think it is. They got in a little tussle wrestling match. Well, I think Frangie has pulled Anderson down there. We can have another look. Yeah, he seems to have grabbed hold of Anderson after the ball's gone and pulled him to the deck. Oh, big decision here for Lockie Keevers. It was behind play, so it depends whether the officials saw that clearly. Unfortunate we had to stop play there as Preston were on the attack. It doesn't seem like any cards have been given.
No, just a warning.
It's a stern talking to and a Preston free kick. And now, Lockie Keevers brings an end to a very eventful first half. Preston going in with a slender lead. Altona had a lot of the early running there and a couple of big chances. Anthony Frangie couldn't convert from the angle. It was Leighton Brooks for the third week in a row scoring the opener for the Preston Lions, this time from a well-worked free kick. A superb run from Gian Albano to win it in the first place. First half substitute who's already replaced the injured Jonas Markovski. Laid off by Jason Romero, and Leighton Brooks did the rest. Fired low through the Altona wall and into the bottom corner past a despairing Christian Rossi. Nick Tabano, what do you make of that first half? They had a bit of everything.
Yeah, very, very eventful. I mean, Altona really came out of the gates and were putting Preston under a bit of pressure, but there were just some nervous moments in that Preston defence, just playing themselves into a bit of pressure when they were playing out, which opened the door quite a bit for Altona, but a really good response from Preston in the last 15 minutes or so, started to create chances. It was Albano who came on for Jonas Markovski, who of course is such disappointing news if he has succumbed to a hamstring injury, and did well to win that free kick. And what a beautifully hit goal it was from Leighton Brooks. It's so delicately poised. I reckon we're going to see plenty of chaos in this second half, Josh. I think this game, for Preston, they're far from out of the woods. Altona has certainly made a good fist of it and looking forward to the final 45.
We'll take a short break here. It's a very compelling Macedonian derby so far. The halftime score is Preston Lions 1, Altona Magic 0.
Also, just briefly looking ahead, we have an away game coming up next week. That will be against Heidelberg United on Friday the 28th of February. And that will be a seniors game kicking off at 7:40 p.m. And then the following week, we are back home at Geneseo Stadium for round 5, and it's the big one when we face South Melbourne. That being on Friday the 7th of March. And that will also be a seniors only game with the kick-off for that game being at 8 p.m. Also, just some other scores from around the ground this evening. Two games almost nearing completion. The first of those being Green Valley 1 versus Hume City 1. And the other game is also nearing completion. The Melbourne Knights 1 versus Avondale 3. And the other game, which is currently about to kick off in the second half, is Port Melbourne Sharks 0 versus Oakland Cannons 2. Also, just a quick shout out to the team at Northern Energy Bundura in South Morang, who have brought along one of the new energy vehicles here that you see on display behind the goals at the southern end of the ground. We, of course, thank the team at Northern Energy for their continuing support of the club and encourage you to pay on a visit for all your new and renewed vehicle needs. And a special shout out there to James Nellis, who also brings along the vehicles each and every week. And you can hear James on Let's Rock with James, which is on Tuesday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. on 98.9 Northwest FM. And he gives a few messages and songs on the radio as well, so make sure you tune in and listen to that. Okay, the second half action isn't too far away, so go yourself something to eat and drink. And we'll be back shortly with the second half action.
Welcome back to Geneseo Stadium, where the halftime score is Preston Lions 1, Altona Magic 0. Underway for the second half. Josh Parrish alongside you with Nick DeBarno for this one. And again, it is Leighton Brooks who is the difference. Scored the opener for Preston against Hume City in week 1. A delicious chip to open the scoring against Dandenong City last week. And for the third week running, he comes up with the goods again. And it's a very different goal once again. There's a giveaway here and an early chance for Albano. Big shout for handball. Well, seemed to me as if Olomuwewe's arm was by his side in a natural position. Altona almost making a rod for their own back within seconds of the second half starting. Leighton Brooks has a header, a chip, and now a goal from a free kick that was laid off to him by Jason Romero. He's building quite the highlight reel. Boffey, that one's going to trickle out on him. Nick, what did you make of the first half, and what are you expecting come the second?
Tightly fought first half, Josh. Thanks for the introduction. Yeah, it was tell you what, both teams really gave it a good fist. I mean, Altona, as we sort of said earlier, started really brightly, and they were looking to put Preston under all sorts of pressure, making the most of, or at least putting them under enough pressure to cause those turnovers and create those opportunities. But I think Preston really eased into things in the towards the second half of that first half, and really were able to gain a little bit of control. And as you mentioned, took the goal brilliantly. Did he ever? Leighton Brooks, a fantastic free kick. But Altona's certainly right in this game. Preston are certainly going to be up against it in this second half, Josh. They've got a lot of talent in that final third, and certainly going to make things very interesting. There's a lot of spice in this game as well. You know, a few cards given out in that first half, so something as well for both coaches to keep in mind.
Romero giving it away. Mukashar tees up Habib. Back to Mukashar! And cleared by Michael Boffey there. That might have been goal bound. Nice combination. And Albano charges in field. Still John Albano. The powerful run. Brooks, return ball. Didn't match the setup. Albano did have Boffey in a lot of space down the left. Luitzewski prowling the touchline.
Just going back to that chance there, Josh, that again, it seems like Altona have made the most of just some sloppiness in some moments from Preston when they play out, and that was a good challenge there from Boffey to be able to clear his lines, because I do think that was on target, and that was goal bound from Mukashar as well.
Habib. Twisting and turning. Scoops it into the box. Away from Boffey. Brought down by Albano. Well worked by Payos. Now Sir Dennis, encouraged on by his head coach to attack at pace. Payos in support now. Forced back to Albano. Negro's cut back. Can't find a teammate. This game is flowing from end to end. Theodorakopoulos is really lacking support.
I do wonder if he just held back a second there. He is on a yellow card, Josh. He does need to be very careful in this second half.
Romero teeing up Albano. Into traffic. Jovchevski scrambles it away. Frangi. Oh, Frangi. Bit of theatrics. Don't think he's going to get any Oscars buzz for that one. Not some tasty fixtures on the horizon for Preston, starting with Heidelberg next week. A bit of breaking news for you. That game has been shifted to the home of the Matildas in Bundoora, so if you're planning on attending that one, it's been moved to the home of the Matildas in Bundoora State Football Centre. And Football Victoria will be running a show, so should be an absolute crack of that one, and it's the first of a run of big rivalry games for Preston. South Melbourne the week after, here at Jenna Steele Stadium.
Kicking off a long weekend as well here in Melbourne, Josh. What better way to start it? I mean, if you're coming from interstate, you know, I know that it's a Melbourne public holiday on the Monday, but that's the time to come down. We saw how great of a spectacle it was last year. Leave for just a moment.
This is Payos. Almost picking out Romero. Tried to run it down. He had no chance. That's the definition of chasing a lost cause. Albano, I should say.
Even after those games you mentioned, Josh, I mean, Avondale away at Avenger Park, and then, of course, playing against Oakley here at home. It's a massive run of games. You know, this is the place to be. These Preston fixtures are must-watch over the next month.
Gust. Habib. Prompting the overlap. Gust! Oh, venom on that one. Side netting only.
Boy, is he impressive. He's really impressive, Alex Gust. He's showing plenty going forward.
Of course, just returning to that fixture next week. If you're planning on attending, just keep an eye out on the Preston socials. All that information will be filtering through about the logistical arrangements, parking, code of conduct, all that sort of stuff. So keep your eyes peeled. Should be a great night of football. As is tonight. The crowd has really built through that first half. We must be pushing 4,000 again. Sensational turnout. Ooh. So Dennis smacks the turf in frustration at not receiving a whistle there. Flicked on by Sir Dennis this time. Kubalay putting the pressure on and forcing the corner. That's Preston's first corner of the evening, just the second of the match, which is surprising given how open it's been. Swung into the near post. Anderson's there and lifts it high and wide. Did score a couple of goals for Preston last season, Aaron Anderson, from set piece situations. You'd think Matt Bozanowski was the more obvious aerial target in those spots. Short goal kick taken by Rossi. Rather inviting the Preston press. Habib and Gus. Been such an effective combination down the left tonight for Altona. Kawaguchi. Olamawewe Has his eyes up, looking for Frangie. O'Keefe. Jovchevski. Back to Jovchevski. He just coughs up possession under a bit of pressure from Romero, who was retreating to help out in midfield. Still only 19 years of age, Filip Jovchevski. Breakout season last year, coming through the Altona youth ranks. He was at Avondale before that, but never made a first-team appearance. So Dennis. Oh, so Dennis has done superbly well, and was he brought down by Stoichevsky?
Oh, bit of afters here as well.
Well, Stoichevsky went to go scream in the young man's face. He was alleging a dive. I'll have to take another look at that one. Meanwhile, Habib picks out O'Keefe. O'Keefe, dangerous ball across the box, but there's no one there to meet it. So Dennis gets there first. Oh. And then the high foot on Jovchevski, and the game will be stopped. It was an honest attempt at the ball, but Stoichevsky is in a lot of pain. And it comes on the heels of that tussle a few moments ago. It's a big decision for Lachlan Keevers. That's a nasty one.
You can see the Altona bench up in arms. Oh, yeah.
Well, neither player was going to give anything away.
Just see here, Lachlan Keevers just having a conversation with his fourth official here, Josh. I mean, thumbs up comes from the
It's a red card. Giorgio Sir Dennis is off. And the pendulum potentially swings in this game on that call.
Preston bench absolutely ropeable with that decision there, Josh.
Lujatsevski now holding an impromptu team talk to try and restructure the 10 men. Huge disappointment for Giorgio Sir Dennis.
It's a tough one to call, isn't it? It's such a tough one to call.
Well, I mean, on the face of it, it's a really nasty collision and a dangerous foul, but for me, Sir Dennis has eyes for the ball, and does he see Stoichevsky coming there? Does it matter when you put your foot up at head height? Maybe the judgment impaired, the blood pumping a little from the tussle a few moments beforehand. That's a difficult one. Now Lujatsevski is going to get a talking to. I have to say, I don't envy the referee in those situations.
No.
But a decision to make one way or the other.
Look, the decision is final, Josh. They've got to get on with the game now. I mean, as much as it is frustrating, they're still in the lead. They've got 3 points to try and close out here. But this is a massive flashpoint in the game. It's a huge opportunity now for Altona to put Preston on the back foot, but they can't afford to lose their heads here. I know the frustration be building, but they've got to settle themselves. They've got to calm down. There's still plenty of football left in this game.
Habib. Gus. Habib. No real venom on the strike. Preston have set up in a 4-3-2. They did have a decent spell with 10 while they were waiting for John Albano to come on in the first half, but keeping it up for half an hour instead of 5 minutes is a different proposition entirely.
Especially when you're defending a lead, it's hot, it's later in the game as well, more tired bodies.
I wonder whether they think about a change here. Does Albano have the legs to defend from the front for half an hour with 10 men? Does Romero have the, I guess, defensive instincts to do what needs to be done to plug the gaps there? Maybe a Jego or a Schroen or a Brandon Lawton might be called upon.
Especially thinking the latter there, Josh, just his gut running to be able to solidify that midfield if they're looking just to go a bit more pragmatic.
Brooks
Well
skips past Gust. The battle between those two has been very easy on the eye. Oh, a chance on here for Preston, and it's tucked away by Albano, but the flag had already gone up. Again, just looking back at the red card incident, the contact is very, very high, and there is studs on it. So you can definitely understand why the officials came to that judgment. Gust. Mukashar. Vozinovski. Really clean win of possession here. Brooks. Marcus Schroen is going to be introduced.
Real hush that's gone over the stadium at the moment, Josh. The energy in here that was palpable in the early moments of this second half, it just seems like it's been sucked out of the game a bit after that red card.
Kubalate fouls. Altona preparing a double change. It's going to be Daniel Fabrizio and Mohamed El Hawley to come on. Fabrizio, who exploded at the very back end of last season in terms of his goal scoring. All 6 of his goals came in the last 6 games of the season, including a hat-trick on the final day.
Nice pass.
It's really well worked from Payos and Kubalate. Prompting the overlap from Negro. Schroen ready to come on as we await the next stoppage.
It's a wise change, Josh, as well. Just getting the experience of Marcus Schroen onto the field. Just a cool, calm head to steady things just a little bit.
O'Keefe. Flag up against the Scotsman. Double sub incoming for Altona. Anthony Frangi has gone off on the far side. And Christos Theodorakopoulos replaced as well. On come Fabrizio and El Hawley. And Preston still waiting to make their change.
A bit more fresh legs through the corridor there for Altona, bringing on El Hawley and Fabrizio. As you mentioned, they both know where the goals are, so something that Preston is certainly going to have to keep in mind here. But I think it's a very positive change from Goran Lozanovski to he's smelling blood in the water and trying to bring on those fresh legs to go for it now.
Romero. Could Preston pinch something in transition? Romero sliding in. Header from Kubalay. El Hawley. Boffey. Michael Boffey striding into space. Take a throw. And Preston will make that change now. Leighton Brooks, the goal scorer, is the man to be withdrawn. Looks to be struggling a little anyway.
Really good night at the office for Leighton Brooks, Josh. I mean, feels like an eternity ago now, but his goal is the difference. A beautifully hit free kick. 3 goals now in 3 games. Well, what a fantastic start to life here at Preston for him. And now, big opportunity for Marcus Schroen, but as we said a bit earlier, bringing on someone with plenty of experience, someone who will be able to shore things up, just provide a bit of a cool head at the moment. And just importantly, on top of all that, fresh legs, because they're going to need all of it in these last few moments.
Well, what impresses me about Marcus Schroen is his tactical eye for the game. He spent a lot of time up here in the tower with us last season when he was coming back from injury. It's almost an extra coach on the field when you really need one. I think that's why Schroen's the man that Luiatsevski's turned to. Negro. On the way at full stretch. Negro again. Kubalay wants it to feet and gets it. Kubalay was taken down late. Made sure the referee knew about it.
You're asking the question there if it should be a second yellow there. Preston bench. The player was on a yellow already.
I think it was Fabrizio who made the challenge, so it would have just been first yellow card. There were a couple of players booked in Altona's midfield in the first half. One of them has come off. Romero. Ready to repeat the trick from the first half. Or perhaps not.
The Altona ball, but they telegraphed that from a mile away.
Romero is going to go for goal here. Well, it was worth a try. Would have taken something special to beat Christian Rossi from there.
I mean, why not this stage of the game, Josh? Just have a go.
Here's the tireless Alex Gust down the left. Lays it off for Habib. Well, it breaks down. Poor ball from Bilal Habib. More times they let Preston off the hook in those situations, more time will tick away. Preston at least have the scoreline on their side, if not the numbers on the pitch. O'Keefe. Off to Kawaguchi. Hits the turf. Mostly under his own steam. Preston come the other way. Schroen.
It's like another change coming for Preston, Josh. I think it's Luke Jego getting ready to come on, so more fresh legs for the Lions to try and see this one out.
And that will be the last substitution window that Preston have. It's finished. Melbourne Knights 1, Avondale 3 over at Thompson Stadium. 1-1 between Green Gully and Hume City. And still 2-0 to Oakley Cannons over at JL Murphy Reserve against Port Melbourne. 3 wins from 3 now for Avondale to kick off the season, Josh. Of course, these two teams meet in a few weeks' time, so it'll be a battle, the undefeated if all things continue. Of course, it's still a while away, still a lot of football to go. Altona might have something to say about that if they come home with a wet sail here. Mukasha. Anderson. There's another high foot, and this time it's a yellow for El Hawley. Well, the paperwork's gone in for the next Preston change. Luke Jego will have one final chance to warm up. The inevitable comparisons between that and the red card incident. I think that was a little lower impact, that one.
Fair decision there from Lockie Keevers, I think.
Anderson. Hayos into the back of El Hawley. And this game has just become a string of fouls. We haven't seen the flow in the game that we did. That's why the red card is such a shame, regardless of whether it's the correct decision or not. It does damage the game as a spectacle. Habib, away by Bozanovsky. Well kept by Albano. Now Boffey gives Albano something to chase. It's a race that Olamawewe is going to win. Best clearance from the Englishman. Kawaguchi going over the top of the ball.
Oh, lovely pass.
Brilliantly worked from Schroen. And now Albano. Albano to the byline. It's a superb sliding tackle from Johnny Stojcevski.
Great invention there from Marcus Schroen, Josh, as we spoke about all the nous, all the experience. Did well just to wait and just dink that ball beautifully through to Gian Albano, and great chance there for Preston.
Well, Romero's going to come off at the next stoppage. We've just seen a bit of communication to the bench here.
And down he goes. He's putting a big shift, Josh. You wonder if the heat's starting to play a factor in this one as well. Of course, being down at 10 now for the best part of, around 20 minutes now?
I think he was already the man coming off, so no change in Preston's plans.
Quite the play to be bringing on.
Well, it's embarrassment of riches as far as midfielders go on Preston's bench. Maybe lacking a few numbers in recent weeks due to the injuries in the forward line, but in the midfield, they are spoilt for choice.
Just as we wait for this stoppage, Josh, just an update around the grounds as well in VPL 1 tonight. Bentley Green's up 2-0 against Eastern Lions, 2-2 between Brunswick City and Western United. Northcote Melbourne City 0-0. North Sunshine Eagles 5, Moreland City 0 at Larissa Reserve right now.
Well, recently relegated NPL side finding the going tough in the second tier. It wouldn't be the first time that's happened. North Geelong Warriors went down the Pompey Highway, double relegation. Payos. Stolchevsky heads it clear. Habib just left it behind him slightly. Altona will keep possession through Gust, but not for long. Albano with the industry. And now Schroen works it wide for Payos. Preston back on the attack. Jego cut it back looking for Schroen, who wasn't quite on the scene in time. O'Keefe went to ground, but Altona won't want the whistle yet, as our Hawley gets free and Kubalay is forced into the cynical challenge. By my account, there's been, I think, 21 or 22 fouls in this game, Nick. It has been choppy, to say the least.
It's a friendly rivalry, but there's been no love lost on the field today between these two teams. They've certainly left it all out there.
Yeah, derby's the right word for this one.
Yep.
If tonight's anything to go by. Kawaguchi. Mukasha fires it across the box. Well dealt with by Preston, but it's hung high to the edge. Oh, and then Bon Scott failed to field it. Went in bravely with the fists rather than the open arms. Fabrizio's putting himself about, but that one's trickled out of play. Double change for Altona, triple change in fact. Going to empty the bench here.
Yeah. Leaving nothing to chance here. Altona really looking to try and put Preston under pressure and get as many fresh legs on.
So on comes Salu Kamara, George Sitsinaris and Dejan Bakudanakoski. Olamuwewe, O'Keefe, and Yovchevsky, I think it is, coming off.
Coming off from that far side as the long walk around.
Well, all three of those players they've just brought on are new arrivals this season. Sitsinaris coming from South Melbourne. The other two players spent time interstate. Well won by Albano.
God, hasn't he had such a big impact on this game today? And we were concerned about, you know, how much he had in the tank, and he's put in a massive shift.
To come on a lot earlier than he expected on his return from injury. And his debut, in fact, for Preston. John Albano. He's been terrific. Just over 10 minutes plus stoppages to play for Preston to ride out with 10 players. It's going to feel like longer, I'm sure, for the players out there in the heat of battle. And heat's the right word tonight. Gust.
Despite having this numerical advantage, Josh, it's never really felt like Altona have put the Preston defence under any sort of pressure in this period. They actually were putting them under more pressure when the game was level with both teams having 11 players. They just haven't been able to repel this Preston side whatsoever.
I think they've had less transition opportunities because Preston has been sitting back, not on the edge of their own box, but in tight banks of four, and it can be really difficult. That's not the game plan that you've prepared for.
Well, they do say sometimes it's harder playing against 10 than it is against 11. So,
well, especially if you've played or if you've planned and you're set up to play on the break, as Altona have been very effectively tonight. Suddenly you're the protagonists in the game, and it's a completely different set of challenges that you have to overcome. That said, if Habib can glide past players like that, they might find a way through. Habib's still going. It took 4 Preston defenders to halt him in his tracks. And it was Matt Bozanovsky with the most uncompromising clearance you can imagine, almost onto the roof of the pavilion. Habib. Kamara. And won by Albano. Was he brought down? He was. Preston asking for a card. Maybe inadvertent contact.
Gosh, I know it's still early in the round. There's still plenty more football still to be played after tonight, but this result stays. Preston's a second on the table for now. And they're just behind Avondale. Of course, South Melbourne play on Monday against Melbourne Victory, which could have a say on that as well.
Go Preston around the outside through Luke Jego. Oh, superbly done by Luke Jego. Can he pick out a teammate? Not quite. Just dwelt on the ball for a touch too long.
That was superb there from Luke Jego. Great strength, great speed. Did really well to get down the byline. And Marcus Schromm was making that late run, but that's desperate defending there from Altona. And even with 10, they've still got plenty going forward, do the Lions, and they're going to put this Altona defence under all sorts.
It's often in the last 10 minutes that the fans in the grandstand find their voice, try and will their team over the line. It's moments like that, burst forward, get the crowd going. Payos to deliver from the set piece. Schroen, and then Albano fired high, and up over the crossbar.
Sat up perfectly there for him, Josh. For a moment, I thought that was going to be going right on Christian Rossi's goal. But again, Preston, when they've been able to get forward, they're still putting Altona under pressure. They want to make sure of this. They don't want to leave anything to chance with this one goal advantage. Still created some really good half openings and some openings even since that red card to Sir Dennis.
This one is set for a thrilling denouement. Feel the tension on both benches. Goran Lozanovski was giving George Sitsinaris an earful a second ago at his positioning. Now you can see the urgency in his legs to provide that width. Kamara back with Bakadanakoski. Stoichevsky showing his passing range. Sitsinaris going to work. Hanging in the cross. Negro couldn't get it away. He's had a tricky assignment tonight. Habib off the outside of the boot. Mukashar. Little shimmy to get away from Schroen. Space for Sitsinaris to measure the cross. It's off Michael Boffey. It's a decent header from Payos in the end. And Albano has held off his man. He's ploughing a lone furrow on the counter-attack. Schroen only had one ball to play and almost executed to perfection. Sitsinaris still the object of Lozanovski's attentions on the bench.
Just having a look there at both Louis and Sasha Ognanovsky both giving Ollie Kupele the instruction, just sit, don't overcommit, don't go too forward now. It's those dying moments where you've got to save every iota of energy.
Kupele is on the deck at the moment. Back up to his feet as the game hasn't been halted. Payos, perfect ball. It's the only outlet runner in Jego. There's only really one direction he can go in, and that's out of play.
Just have to run for the hills and hope for the best. Just try to get as much mileage as he can.
It's almost NFL style, just gaining yards. Can we move the chains a little bit here?
Unfortunately, getting out of bounds is not what you want in football compared to American football.
Sitsinaris, decent ball. Mukashar, can they get numbers in the box here? Altona. Habib going to work. He wants it on his right boots. That was always drifting wide and prompts the ironic jeers of the home fans. And now Kubalay, well, he can't come off. Preston have used their injury subs. He's going to need treatment.
Yeah, just wonder if it's just taking a few precious seconds here, just in case. I saw him pulling up a little bit lame a couple minutes ago, Josh, and you do wonder at this stage of the game, as we've spoken ad nauseum about with the heat and everything, they'd be feeling it out there. Big few minutes coming up here for both these two teams. If Preston can hang on to all 3 points here, Josh, such a character-building win, you know. Got the all-important goal when maybe their backs were against the wall a little bit in that first half. Backs against the wall again after that red card, and they've done so well to repel the pressure from Altona, not really give them an opportunity to get in. It's a big few minutes for Altona because you're never going to get a better chance of trying to get something from this game. And I mean, BT Connor Reserve, it's so hard to get points here. And points in these sort of games for Altona, you'd think when you look back on a season's end, if they're able to get something from this, could be massive, given, you know, with the extended relegation zone this year with 3 teams going down, you know, if their hopes of maybe pinching a finals berth and staying away from that drop zone, you know how tight things are this year.
Kubalay is going to be okay to continue.
Of course, up next for Altona, Josh, Dandy Thunder at home, Hume away, Dandy City and then Green Gully at home. So 3 of their next 4 at Paisley Park. So big month coming up for Goran Lozanovsky's side.
Gus. Habib holding his ground against Negro and then some. Sitsinaris. Can he be the lightning rod? With Kawaguchi. He's trying to work space for Sitsinaris to send a good ball in. It's with whip. It's away well by Anderson. Only as far as Bilal Habib. Lofted back into the box. It'll fall for Kamara. There was a player coming back from an offside position, but he didn't touch the ball. Sitsinaris. Kamara. Kawaguchi. Can they craft a shooting angle? Instead, it's funneled back out to Sitsinaris down the right. Deflection on the cross. Gus, big collision. Preston free kick. And Schrowen's in a bit of pain. Right in the guts.
Yeah, that's a big free kick one there by Preston just to take this thing out of that Altona attack just a little bit. A few more precious seconds off the clock. You do think, though, there is going to be quite a bit of added time, Josh. That red card, there was a massive stoppage in sort of sorting out all the arguments afterwards, and Sir Dennis coming off the field. And as well for these number of stoppages for injuries as well. So, far from out of the woods, Preston.
You'd expect probably 6 or 7.
Yeah.
We'll wait and see what the 4th official has in store.
If you're at home, strap in. We're going late.
This one is far from over. Well, what the second half is lack in goalmouth action, it's more than made up for in drama and tension. Bon Scott, in truth, has had precious little to do. Only 2 shots on target from Altona.
Well, they hit the post, Bilal Habib in the first half, but they've beaten Bon Scott on that occasion. But since then, they haven't really tested him. There's been moments where Altona have threatened, but never really put Bon Scott under any sort of pressure, forced him into a big save.
They've lashed a couple into side netting.
Yep.
Gust and Frangi just haven't been able to force any big saves like we saw in the first half last week at Dandenong City, where Bon Scott came up huge. Still just that solitary Leighton Brooks strike, the difference. And now, looks like 5 on the board, so Preston, on balance, will be happy enough with that. Sitsinaris. Fighting low, Payos scrambles it away. It's just spun and stayed in for Kawaguchi. Stoichevsky will switch the point of attack. Gust, still full of running. Let's come off Jego. It's going to go all the way through to Scott. And he will take every second he's entitled to.
See how the crowd really starting to try and will Preston over the line now. They can sense it's close.
It's been a gripping Macedonian derby here at Janice Steele Stadium. We hope you've enjoyed the coverage at home. Moments of quality, moments of controversy peppered throughout. Habib skipping past Negro. Advantage paid by the referee. Finding Sitsanaris. Onto his left, and always just fizzing wide of the near post.
So around 3.5 minutes, Josh. There's still so much time remaining in this one.
It's just a question of Preston's discipline and game management. They haven't kept a clean sheet so far this season. They only kept 4 clean sheets with Bon Scott in goals last season. A few games that he didn't play. It's usually been, we'll score one more than you. An approach from Lujatsevski and his staff. This second half showing has been pretty disciplined. Showing got tangled up with Bakadanakoski behind play, but no complaints. El Hawley. Oh, just wrong foot's gust. And now Payos can nip in. Blues ring around Janice Steele Stadium. As that one's overcooked for Fabrizio. I think it was offside anyway. There was a flag up, but advantage will be paid to Scott, who has the ball in his hands.
Get a sense Altona might have one more sort of foray in them forward. Preston going to have to hold very firm here.
Bakadanakoski. Habib. Habib. It's just trickled out of play. It seems as if the game rests on his boot, I have to say.
Yeah, he looks like the most likely player for Altona. He's had some flashes today. He's really shown his quality in some moments, but just not been able to. That final chance, that final shot, that final pass just hasn't been there for him. But he's that sort of player, Josh. It only takes one opportunity for him.
We talked about Leighton Brooks scoring in 3 successive weeks. Bilal Habib scored in the first 2 rounds, but so far scoreless this evening. One of those did come from the penalty spot. Straight out of play from Scott.
If they had a little bit less length, I don't think Lujatsevski will be repeating his feats of leaping Lou last week. He'd be happy to see that one go well over the technical area.
He's just been waiting for a good lead all night, Lujatsevski. Christian Rossi was trying to play ball boy on the opposite flank, but his services were not required. Habib. Such a slippery dribbler, still causing Preston headaches. The home fans baying for a final whistle. Last chance saloon for the Magic. Off the chest of Fabrizio. And hooked away by Jago. We've played 5 minutes. It's down to Lockie Keevers now. Sitsanaris. Sliding in was Albano and away by Schroen. A glance at the watch from Keevers, but still we go on. Magic have to get it forward and quickly. It's a brilliant switch of play from Bakadanakoski. And Bilal Habib will go 1v1 with Negro. Cut back to El Hawley. El Hawley losing his footing, finding Sitsanaris. Sitsanaris fires it across the box, but it can't be turned goalwards. And that's full time. And Preston have held on. By the skin of their teeth, the 10 men of the Preston Lions have eked out a character-building 3 points at home. And Altona Magic, they huffed and they puffed, but they fall just short. What a game, Nick.
What a gripping 90 minutes. Brilliant free kick from Leighton Brooks that put Preston in the lead. But they had to dig deep after that red card to Giorgio Serdenis, and that is a character-building win for them. These are the games, Josh, you've got to just get the job done. You look back later in the season for Preston, you'd be thinking with those 3 points, that could help them. And potentially, you know, if they're looking for finals football or getting themselves a home final, these are the sort of games you've got to win. Altona, they huffed, they puffed, they put Preston under pressure late. But they did so well defensively, so disciplined in those last 25 minutes to half an hour to be able to hold firm and come away with the 3 points, heading into such a big month of football where they're going to be playing all the teams that they're going to have to beat if they want silverware this season, Josh. So going into that with a bit of confidence, undefeated from their first 3 games. I know it's not 3 wins from 3, but you can't ask for, we can't be greedy here. 7 points from a possible 9 is very, very impressive to say the least.
Well, it wasn't easy by any means. It was not straightforward. The night took many twists and turns, none more significant than a red card issued to Giorgio Serdenis, which left Preston a man down for the last half hour. But a defensively disciplined showing to hold on to that lead, and Leighton Brooks is once again the difference maker. Preston, temporarily at least, up to second on the NPL Victoria table until South Melbourne play on Monday. And we repeat that game next week against Heidelberg. Has been shifted to the home of the Matildas, so Preston fans making the away trip to Bundoora instead for that one. Well, a big thank you to you, Nick Tabano, for your company tonight. It's been a delight.
Thank you very much, Josh.
We will leave you with these scenes. The final score, Preston Lions 1, Altona Magic 0.